for having COVID-19, you look pretty darn good.
You know what? You said it's like someone else at the table said something about that. I said, well, when you set the bar low,
Right.
It's not hard to meet it.
Right. That's like me for Halloween. I don't have to dress up. That's the one day of the year I look good.
Right on. Yeah. Well, welcome everyone again to the Exit Your Way Roundtable. Today we're going to be talking about scaling. We're going to have Corey Hansen and Ron Higgs up here today. I'm quite excited to have them up. As we were getting on stage here, Andrew is like, man, I really enjoyed last week bringing everyone up onto the stage, giving you your 30 seconds. We're going to do that quick before we get started and get Corey and Ron up here. So Andrew, take it away. We're going to let people give your elevator pitch. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're looking for, whatever. So
yeah, just like, the old, let's go around the conference table and stand up and tell us who you are.
Well, Dan's here. Dan didn't even know he's going to be up here.
And I'm just going to go down the list and bring folks up. But hey, Dan, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Dan Bigger. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Shenango Valley Technologies. We're an injection tooling and molding company in Central New York.
Awesome.
Right on. How things going?
Very busy. Very good.
Yeah. Everybody in your place, are they healthy?
We're out in the middle of the country, so there's really very little problems here. We had a murder the other day, but other than that, we're good.
Wasn't me. Well, that's good. Good to see you, Dan. And I will drop people off here so we can only put up 6 at a time. So
yeah.
So don't feel bad if I cast you away. So.
We're supposed to be able to do up to 10 now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, let's give that a try.
I'll give it a try then. So Andrew.
Me?
Yeah.
Andrew. That one.
That guy.
That one.
Hey, it is allowing us to put more people on the stage. Good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm Andrew Deutsch with Fangled Tech. We're a fractional chief marketing officer consulting company as well as a global trade initiative company. But what I would hope people would do is check out our new podcast, The Fangled Cast. It's on YouTube, and I put the link in the chat.
All right, cool.
Please subscribe, like, enjoy some really interesting interviews with some great people and more coming up. That's it.
Very cool.
Kick me off the table.
Dr. Elia.
Good morning, everyone. Damon, it's good to see you healthier than you looked yesterday, man. It's great to see you. Our thoughts are there with you, man. Anyway, I'm Dr. Elia Grigoris, the happiness doctor, and I share happiness and corporate wellness. Author of a couple of books that have been well received, and most of you know them, 7 Paths to Lasting Happiness and 7 Keys to Navigating a Crisis with my dear, good Greek friend, Konstantinos Apostolopoulos. He'll be up here soon.
Yeah.
And I just love spreading happiness and wellness, man. I mean, that's my thing, either through writing, speaking internationally, and going into companies and helping them transform their cultures, really, from one person at a time or a team at a time, a division at a time, or whatever. So
very cool.
Thank you, guys. And thank you for having me up here. Appreciate it.
Good to have you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Jennifer next.
Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer Wegman and I am a social media strategist and content writer. I write social media content for overwhelmed and busy entrepreneurs and small business owners. And I'm leading a Twitter chat tonight called Lead Loudly from 7 to 8 p.m. if anybody's interested in joining. I was supposed to do it last week, but Twitter broke. So
yeah,
couldn't do it.
Twitter broke. I didn't believe that when I heard someone said that Twitter's down or Twitter's broken.
It was broken. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to leading that again, leading it tonight. So thank you.
Drop that in the chat too, so we know where, what it's going to be under the hashtag or whatever. I don't know Twitter well enough. Sorry. Who do we have next? Andrew, you bring it up.
Jill Valdez.
Good morning. I am Jill Valdez, and I provide strategies for those small businesses to get to the next level, predominantly with recognizing that the people that they have, if they develop them rather than treating them like cogs in the system, then they're going to be able to get to that next level that they're wanting to get to.
Awesome. Bill. Thank you.
I've written a couple of ebooks, working on a couple of more, and love to just be a resource for people. So make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn.
Very good.
Welcome, Jill. Great.
Thanks.
Then we got Josh.
Hey, I'm Josh from Protocol 80, CO and partner. We're a inbound marketing agency that primarily works with manufacturing companies. Typically, they are tier 2, tier 3 in the supply chain and have never done marketing in their lives. And this is usually their first approach. HubSpot partners, and I'm a HubSpot certified trainer. I think it's really cool you guys do these roundtable discussions. So thanks to Andrew and Damon for putting these together.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're just glad that the people come to them because we have a lot of fun. But I'm crazy as hell, and people know that. So, all right, Mark.
Story. That's a true story.
That's a true story. Ira knows. Yeah. Yes. So, Mark.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mark Scarenti. I'm in Chicago. Damon, welcome back. I just heard that you had COVID. I didn't realize that. You amazing resilience. Good to see you back. I am an executive in e-commerce, SaaS. That's my background, including web product development, product strategy, digital marketing, customer service, customer experience. I just started my own fractional consulting business, and it looks like I've got my first client. This is somebody who sells soccer pitches to big time developers, and it's a fairly complex business model, but I'm excited to get started. That's going to be about 20, 25 hours a week.
Nice.
And so I still have available time for other things. I'm trying to figure out what that is. But good start anyway.
Very cool.
Cool.
Very
Thanks.
cool.
Mark, good to see you.
Thanks. Good to see you.
So, Marty, good to see you.
Good to see everybody. Let me know if my sound's bad because I seem to have a little trouble with my mic this morning.
No, your sound's fine
You're
right
good.
now.
You're good.
Good. Well, I help unsatisfied, frustrated, entrepreneurial leadership teams get what they want from their business. I do that by helping them implement a complete and proven system called EOS, based on the book Traction, if you're familiar with it. Happy to talk to you about it. It's made up of real world, simple and practical field tested tools, that get results. We help our clients experience three things we call vision, traction, and healthy. So vision from the standpoint of helping the leadership team all get on the same page with where they're going, how they're going to get there. Traction meaning execution, getting more disciplined and accountable and executing every part of that vision. And healthy meaning helping create a functional, cohesive, open and honest leadership team, because most of the time they're not. And as goes the leadership team, so goes the rest of the organization. We get to the point where the whole organization is totally aligned, executing on the vision and working together as a functional, cohesive organization.
Cool.
So if you're interested in that and learning a little bit more about that, most of my clients are between 10 and 250 employees. So we're talking about entrepreneurial leadership teams that I work with, growing businesses. But I'd love to talk to you about it and make it easy for you to introduce me to at least let someone have the opportunity to learn a little bit more when they're building their business. So thank you. It's good to see you all.
Thanks.
Marty.
Good to see you.
There is still a little echo. So. Bye, Marty.
So,
So it's when we speak through his speakers we get the echo.
so Michael, do you have
Yes,
new
good morning.
glasses, Michael? Did you recently get new glasses?
I did.
Because I was like, I saw them the other day. I was like, I have to get glasses. That's why I was saying. Sorry.
Yeah. That's great.
Look good.
Looking sharp.
Yeah, look good.
Thank you. So,
Not as sharp
Michael,
but then again.
I feel like I need glasses.
Yeah,
I'm
who
the
is?
guy here who doesn't wear glasses.
yeah. Michael Godlewski, Achievement Unlimited. We work as growth catalysts to create help small to mid-sized companies create a culture and develop their leaders to really focus on results. We have a couple of main focus areas: developing the leadership, getting the right people in the right seats on the bus through some really powerful assessments, and also helping them not only create their strategic plan, but put it on resultsbi.com software, so it's in the cloud, and every single member of the leadership team can see what that plan is, what the big rocks are, what the goals are, run their meeting schedule, everything through that software. Is pretty powerful. So if anybody's interested,
I knew you looked smart.
give me a call. What's that?
I knew you looked smart. I could just tell right away. I didn't think it was just the glasses. I was like, this guy's fucking smart.
Yeah.
No, it's just the glasses, Mike.
Yeah.
I gotta get some, man.
Michael
I gotta
O'Connor, you're up, man.
Oh, that's a
30
scary
seconds,
thought.
Mike.
I'm Michael O'Connor with ServiceProfessionalsNetwork.com. I have friends like Ira that give me a hard time, but I curate content and distribute it across the internet. My 30 seconds, buddy. My 30 seconds. So I just posted a link to my YouTube group on Service Professionals Network. If you post a video in that group, their RSS feed shares it to different channels like Twitter and Tumblr automatically. So if you have a video, share it in my YouTube group on my site, and it automatically goes in other places.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. That's a good thing to know. And
I'm proud that you only interrupted twice.
I was gonna do it 3 times, but I had trouble getting the mic on.
You got Drew.
well, we got Con. Con, glad to see you here today.
Well, good morning to everybody. I am, as my good friend Dr. Ilya said, my name is Konstantinos Apostolopoulos. Good Irish name for everybody to remember. I go by Coach Con affectionately because I am an executive coach. I am a soccer coach, but I also am an author, speaker, and most importantly, I focus on change management and performance improvement. I help companies through my organization, Fresh Biz Solutions, where we focus on making sure that our customers' purpose is aligned, their people are engaged, and their processes are in sync and efficient to make sure that they get the best performance and return on their investment as far as their people go. So that's my little pitch.
Awesome, Con. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Con. And I think, Melissa, I think that's everybody. If I missed somebody, let me know. But and Corey and Ron, of course, will bring you up to speak. So we'll wait till the end for you all. But Melissa, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks, Andrew. So coming to you from Iowa, it's a brisk morning out here with lots of fall leaves. And what I do is I coach. So I work with individuals in 3 areas, emerging leaders to VPs. How do they get their executive presence, leadership development, working with small business owners and entrepreneurs as I was in the franchise small business ownership realm years ago, and now back to being a small business owner again. And the third group is really working with career coaching, those who are figuring out where they want to go, what is their career, do they want to stay within the same company, move companies, change verticals, and love just helping people. So leaving the corporate world and going back into owning my own business. What brings me joy and fills my cup is just seeing people have that success, building their confidence and knowing that they've got it. So thanks for the time today and happy to be here.
Awesome.
So Melissa, is this your first time at the round table?
You've been here a few times.
Yeah, a couple times. The last
Yeah.
couple weeks haven't worked for scheduling. This is way too much. Family are farmers, and so corn for the last week, and I ran the auger. If you want to know about that, it's legit. So I can put on some overalls other than my fun work shirt.
I would love video. Melissa, I want some video. I'll make you a free promo video. If you get me in that auger, you in that auger, I will make you a promo video. It'll blow up on YouTube.
It's so funny. It's something else.
Yeah.
Great. Well, good to see you.
Let's do it, man. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt. That's no joke, man. I grew up on a farm in South Dakota. When it's this time of year, it's like 24/7 until it's done.
I tell you haven't worked until you baled hay for a summer.
Yeah. Cool. All right, now we have Corey coming up here with Ron Higgs, and we're gonna let the main presenters present. So awesome, guys. Well, I'd like to introduce Corey Hansen and Ron Higgs for Hot 100 Businesses, right?
Hot 100 Business.
Hot 100 Business. They're going to talk to us today a little bit about scaling. So Corey's done some interesting work with a lot of companies here in the Northwest and in the United States, where some of these companies under his direction and beyond have gone on to be on the Inc. 500's fastest growing companies list and other prestigious awards. And I thought it'd be fun to have Corey stop by today with Ron and the two of them explain to us some of the ways that they've helped companies do this.
Great. Well, thank you. And just to let you know, we're like the rest of you. We're consultants and passionate about helping people to grow their businesses. And it all kind of, for me, started, I was an educator for a while, and then I joined the Small Business Development Centers, which is part of the SBA. And over a 14-year period, I got to work with thousands of people, literally thousands of business owners. And about 4 years into that process, I started saying, I'm kind of tired of being an emergency room technician. They come in, I say, tell me where it hurts. Then they go, oh, it hurts here. And then, they go away. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And so I ended up getting my master's in organizational development, focus on high performance organizations and entrepreneurs. And I started asking, what is this better way? And one of the things I did is kind of like this. I asked 5,000 of my associates across the U.S., what are you doing to, help your clients figure out what to do? And I got 10 answers back, and 9 of them were all the same one. They were using an assessment tool the SBA had developed. And the 10th one was different. And I started corresponding with them. And over a 3-year period of time, we developed a tool to help us assess where our clients were, to really not just get by, not just grow a little bit, but to actually accelerate their growth. Because one of the things we found out in my research is that, unfortunately, most businesses actually fail by their own standards of what they want to do. And I got to tell you, I do make a distinction between self-employment and building a business. So to me, a business is something that has value beyond your labor. If you had to go away for 6 months, you could still come back. You got a team, you got whatever it is to do it. So a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about, it's not secret, it's not new. It's just applied maybe in a different way. And part of that process, and Ron can talk about this some, is we started with a visioning process of instead of asking people, well, what do you want to do with your business? We started saying, look, businesses with revenues of $1 to $5 million or $10 million have a survival rate that's 5 times higher than those below $1 million. So what should our number one goal be? And they agreed. Yeah. We should focus on growth. Yeah. And the craziest thing happened is when we started to say, agree, here's the goal, and now let's build a business that can achieve that goal, instead of, and you think about how most of us do it. We say, yeah, I want to grow. So what do? I'm going to double my revenues. And how do I do that? I work twice as hard. Well, that's great until the next year when you say, yeah, I still want to grow. Are you going to work twice as hard again? No way. So we started with this process of visioning what the process is. Ron's really good at this. And in fact, he and I are happy to work with anybody on, just getting that vision. But also then we benchmarked it against what actually needs to be done. Result was, in 3 years, I had clients who were making the Inc. 500 fastest growing businesses, the Hot 100, Entrepreneur Magazine, on and on and on and on. But more importantly, not just were their revenues growing, but their profitability was, if revenues grew 5 times, their profit grew 20, 30, 40 times. The other part was their lives became so much easier. And that's one of the challenges we have, is that, unfortunately, it takes most people about 4 failures and over 20 years to build a sustainable success. Our goal became, instead of, doing it that way, what can we do to get there in 5, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years? And once you start focusing in on this issue of what's the problem you're trying to solve, suddenly there are all kinds of solutions to it. So we've developed a process that's really just an assessment over 300 points. There could be thousands, but it's really, all the things as an expert in what you do. If you were to condense it down into what's the 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 points that people need to start with, and then you collect all those from all of these experts, and that's what our book, The Best Practices of High Performance Entrepreneur, became, as just a benchmark, but not a benchmark against where you are, because let's face it, you all know what you need to change, but you go, oh, I'm just so overwhelmed. Well, when we, as entrepreneurs, we live in the future, and so really we said, let's focus on that future goal. Let's build that foundation for that future goal, and the result is we were able to see this great success. Anyway, there's lots of ways to do this.
Hey, I will interject. Or Andrew, were you going to ask something?
Oh, I was just going to make a little comment about that as well, because we talk to business owners too, and we're at the end. And one of the common questions a buyer will ask, when they're looking at buying a business is, hey, what would you do next? What would you invest in for the future growth? What's the best thing to look at? And it's really interesting for what Corey's saying here. They say, oh, and they all know what they need to do. They're just small businesses, and they just got, I want to do some more sales, but the business owner's probably doing about 10% of their time on sales because of all the other stuff they're doing, because they are owner operators. But when you'd ask them that question, they say, well, if I could put 2 more, then the answer is, well, why don't we just do it? Why don't you? Exactly right. You can't do it all yourself. That's the thing.
Well, part of the visioning process that Corey was talking about is really thinking about why you want to be in the business, right? Why you want to run your business, and looking at, we want to make money, right? We want to make a lot of money, right? So we figure, and a lot of money, that's relative, right? But we focused on one goal. Okay, let's say we want to pay ourselves a minimum of $300,000 a year. How do we get to that? We also want to think about what you want out of the business. Do you want to work 24/7? No. Don't you want to set up a business where you can walk away and make money while you're sitting on the beach in Cabo somewhere, right? So again, a goal was to take 6 weeks of vacation at one time and not have any impact to the business. That means you're not the single point building a business to where you're not the single point of failure. Yeah. Right. So thinking about things like that and having that in the vision, having that written down as a goal, right? I want to be able to take 6 weeks of vacation, 3 weeks uninterrupted at a time, or 6 weeks at a time, uninterrupted.
We actually put that into the vision statement for the business, and we do this a little differently. We have a vision mission statement, but the vision is for the owners and stakeholders, and the mission is for the customers. So one of the things we do in that vision statement is actually identify, just like Ron said, the vacation and profitability and revenues, so that we're, it's kind of like building a car. You're in a car, your business is a car right now, and you're comfortably going this speed. Well, here's the thing, the race, if they agree, the race we're going into is Formula One. Now, can you take the car you've got right now and suddenly compete at Formula One level? No. So we have to transform the business as we go. And because we get really clear, and this is one of the beautiful things about all of us as entrepreneurs, you give us a problem and make it clear, we'll fix it. We'll make it work. But if we're not really clear, and I had people, I'd say, well, what do you want to do? And they say, well, I want to grow. I want to make a lot of money. And I'd say, I don't know what that means. Can you tell me how much a year in revenue is that? And I'm going to tell you that one of the things we as entrepreneurs do is we say, well, if I just sacrifice enough, it'll all happen. The saddest thing I had is at the SBDC is I get people all the time who come in, they got what they think is a great business. And I'd have to tell them, I'm sorry, but you know what? If things don't change, you're actually bankrupt. you're actually dead. You just don't know it yet. And that was and what we then do is work on, okay, now let's revive this and change it into something better. And we had these turnarounds that were just phenomenal. I mean, people are fantastic at what they do. They just don't have the experience of scaling that in a way that's sustainable and profitable.
Mm-hmm. So it's always tough to tell them the baby is ugly.
It just needs work. It needs to grow up, But
so, what about just a question, Ron and Corey? When you talk about that too, I see a lot of these business owners too, and the car analogies metaphor is great, but a lot of these engines have limiters on them, self-inflicted.
Well, and again, what happens is once you decide that what the goal is, and we start to build the team to do that, the result is you can actually transform it. And sometimes a house is a better analogy, and say instead of having a very small foundation, we build that foundation, and then the rest of the house goes up very easily. Versus a lot of people grow really quick. That's not unusual. It's just that the foundation they start with is too small. So they grow that house, and then over time it cracks and the building falls down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the risk. Growth is expensive and scary in some cases. A lot of the business owners that I experience are making enough.
Well, and this is one of the reasons why I focus, and Ron and we focus on cash flow. One of the things, one of the tools, one of the best practices is we do a 12-month projection on cash flow. We also add 3 scenario analysis to it, because can you predict the future? No, but you can predict the 2-3 probabilities. And it's like in one of the last disasters, economically, at a client, we'd already prepared 3 different scenarios. So when the worst scenario happened, we were completely prepared, adjusted, and when things turned around, we were completely prepared. So growth is scary if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's back up a bit. You talk about your visioning process, and you do that. You're going to talk with owners. We're going to say, okay, listen, I've got a cash flow goal, I've got a revenue goal, profitability, whatever it is. There's a goal we've got there that we've laid in. And what's the step after that you're going to take?
Okay, so that's where the best practices come in the assessment tool. And so typically what we do is we assess them against the goal, not against where they are, but against the goal. What do we need to prepare? And then we prioritize and pick 10 to 15 of those best practices, and we drill down on those. And that's why we need experts in marketing, we need experts in finance, we need experts in human resources and staffing, we need experts in risk management. And so what we're doing is we're basically doing in 2-3 years what they would normally do over 10, 15, 20 years on their own. But because we're building it in a little more structured way, the result is we get results a whole lot faster. And people ask me, well, does it work for everybody? I say, everybody's helped, but not everybody gets the result that they start out with. In fact, truth is, not everybody really wants to grow.
Yeah.
There are a lot of us, there are a lot of us who are really happy with the way things are. And I'd rather be responsible just for myself than I would for, other people. And that's, I don't know your guys' experience, but, you got 15, 20, 50 people who are dependent on you for payroll. And sometimes it can seem like you're doing an awful lot of babysitting instead of, it's like, people who start a business. They say, well, what should I expect? And I had one guy he called up all of his friends and who ran business, said, what's it going to be like? And they told him. And 6 months later, he called him up and said, you SOB, you didn't tell me about the sleepless nights. Oh, well, that's just normal,
Yeah.
Hey, let me back up just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because this is one of the things that that I really liked when I met Corey and I learned more about this. Is the why you picked the 5X part. He hinted at this earlier, and he said, listen, if you have to you talk to someone and you go, okay, you have to double your revenue in the next year, what are you going to do? Right? Most people go, I have to work twice as hard. I have to work 16 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day. Okay, so then 5X was picked because now you're going to have to work 5X your revenue. Now, they're not that many hours in a day. So it's a complete mindset change, and you're going to have to start with a clean sheet of paper. Listen, my wife never listens to me, okay? And it's probably not going to change. She's a mortgage loan officer, and she's been doing it for 25 years, and she's working her ass off. You know what I mean? And I go, hey, well, what if I told you you had to double your revenue, in the next, year? She's like, okay, well, I'll work six. And she said, it's like, well, I just have to work twice as hard. It's like, okay, 5X. And then she stopped and thought about it. And she actually said these words. She goes, well, I guess I'd have to start with a clean sheet of paper. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a complete mindset change. Right. So then you have to start thinking about, okay, I can't do this all myself. I am going to have to offload some things. If anybody's familiar with this book, where you talk about your zone of incompetence, your zone of competence, your zone of excellence, and your zone of genius. Right. And then it's like, I'm going to have to get people out. I'll hold the book up longer. But really good. But basically what it says is stop working in your zone of incompetence. Right.
Yeah.
And you want to work in your zone of genius as much as possible. So all the things that you're not all that great at, let's have somebody else do those, right? And then you can focus on the things that you do best. But the 5X goal is really what sold me on coming to work with Corey with this.
One of the interesting parts of that, though, is you say, well, why 5X? Why not 10X? Why not 100? And what we found was that for most of us, and this is a psychological issue, for most of us, if you try and imagine 10X from where you are, most people, the brain goes, oh, that's fantasy. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. But when the process we use to go through 5X, you actually start to see what that looks like. And when we can see what it looks like, we can do it.
Yeah. So I brought Jennifer up because she had a very good question. And I think for you guys, Jennifer.
I'm here, and I've got my silent partner, not so silent partner. So my question was specifically around service-based businesses. So like, how do you scale to that kind of level when you're a service-based business? And like for what I do, it's really honestly in my head, short of hiring other people and teaching them a methodology. What I do is largely in my head. And so I'd love some tips or suggestions on how you can begin to scale when everything's in your head and you're providing service versus a product.
Ron, you want to?
Well, again, with you, right, that's your service. So you're going to have to find someone else and start training other people to do it, right? So how do you build a foundation to do that? Right, you're going to have to get yourself to a point where you're making enough revenue to find someone else and pay them to do that, right? So you will have to make yourself, not the single point of failure for the whole business, right? So there is going to have to be some training involved in finding elsewhere. And Corey, I just started working with Corey. Corey, you may have more practical experience with specific service businesses.
I'll weigh in on this a little bit, and I know that Marty in here with EOS and Traction. If you haven't read that book, the whole thing that I think there you go in the part of EOS that I really connect with a lot is the delegate and elevate part. And in the service business, it's critical, and Ira knows this, and other people that do this and especially Marty that's teaching people doing this every day is. You really have to, as you look at your business now, Jennifer, or any of us that have a service-based business, we have to look at it and go, okay, where are we going to run out of capacity, and how do we increase that capacity next? And then how do we increase that capacity and maintain the level of service that we're going to provide our customers? And that is the challenge. the challenge when you look at it. And it is, you know, whether you're reading traction and understanding how to identify that, whether you're reading the, you know, the E-Myth and trying to figure out which part of your brain that is that you've got to disconnect and work with. It is the challenge in service businesses. And, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a plumbing business or it's a consulting business, quite honestly, it's the same challenge. If you start a plumbing business because you're a good plumber, which that's 90% of why we get into business ourselves, because we're good at something. Scaling it is the hardest piece. But it is, as you guys know, and as Marty and Corey, you guys do, it is about what are those steps you need to do that can leverage outside of your skills with others. That's the only way to really do it, or technology.
Yeah, I think this was thank you, Jennifer. It was I thought it was a really good question, because too, there are a lot of people in this room, particularly who are, you know, have great businesses, but are trying to figure out how to scale their model because of the expertise and service that they provide. It's a really good, big challenge, but it is doable. Traction's a good book. You might want to pick that up, Jennifer, if you haven't.
Yeah.
So, and service businesses, by the way, are the majority of the clients that I've worked with, and a lot of people just like you, Jennifer. And what happens is, if we were to go 20 years into the future, your business would be very different than what it is right now. And so instead of waiting that 20 years, let's look at what it would look like that 20 years and identify. And yeah, you'd probably have some staff, and you'd probably have some technology that enables you to, you've systematized your process to focus on getting results. And instead of waiting 20 years, why don't we start doing some of that now and making your life easier? Because the truth is, and this is one of the really challenging parts of this, is that I found that, unfortunately, slow growth is really just another form of slow death.
Yeah.
And you know, the other one is, we are literally in a race. We're in a race right now. The issue is, what are we doing to make sure that we win? What are we, you know, if you want to use the automobile version, you know, what are we doing to get a new transmission, a new motor, a new suspension? What are we doing to transform our, you know, comfortably at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour to the race is 210. How do we get to 210? Well, it doesn't happen, you know, just poof, we go like this. We have to transform. So what if your business included 5 people? What might that look like? What might you want to look at? So all we're doing is, you know, as entrepreneurs, again, we live in the future. Now let's design in the future and see what it looks like. And again, Ron and I have a process. We're happy to share that. In fact, our book, you know, you're welcome to buy it if you want, but we've got an offer. Go to our website, hot100business.com, and you know, click on buy the book, and the free code is 5X now, all cap, 5X now, and happy to have you take a look at it. Don't read it while driving or operating heavy equipment, because, you know, you'll definitely get put to sleep. But yeah, we all have these different ways. So that's one of the other things people, you know, so there was a study a number of years ago, what's the best system out there? You know, and they looked in depth at all of the various systems out there to grow a business. Here was the number one conclusion: having a system gets better results than having no system.
Yeah.
Number 2, there was no best system.
Yep.
Marty is probably going to come up and disagree.
That'd be great. That's fine.
No, I don't. I don't disagree. Our thing, the EOS creed, if you want to know what it is you've got to work your business on one system. You got to choose that system. I provide EOS. I implement EOS in businesses. It's not the only system. It's not for everybody, but it's about building a leadership team. So it's about growing it out in a way that you guys are talking about. So
Yeah.
I'd love to connect with you, Corey, and talk more about that. But
Great.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you haven't checked out Traction, I'm happy to have a conversation or give you the movie version. I'm happy to have that discussion because there's things you can learn from that at any size business.
Yeah. Andrew Deutsch asked a question. I just gotta laugh because Andrew stuff. Andrew said, "Do you have a system to help choose a system?" In the chat. I know it's like sometimes
Had you not said who asked that
Get
question,
up here,
I
Andrew.
would have known it was Andrew.
I know.
You know, but I
And
think
the answer is it depends on what your goal is. Tell me, let's finalize what your goal is, and that makes it easy to determine which system is best.
You are right with that, and it does. When we're helping clients too, when we look at it and they're near their exit, it's like, oh, what do you want to do? And half the time we don't do this as people. We don't say, listen, I want to be. This is where I want to be, and if you know that I want to, so if you want to run a marathon, you want to run that whatever it is, however many miles it is, a marathon. That's where you're going. You know the goal. You got to get there. And in businesses, we start these businesses and we don't have those kind of concrete goals. And once you have a line in the sand, you at least have something that you can start working towards.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to jump in because, a lot of engineers, a lot of, guys, process, systems, all good, EOS. But then, and we've started this discussion on, through the roundtable going forward, but a lot, not forgetting the people too that run these things as well. And, and getting the right people in the right seats and evaluating if they are, those kind of people and where they fit. So Kelly's, Robinson's in here, who's in the, works on that kind of thing for organizations, and Michael Gilowski, so I wanted to get the, touch on that as well, and not forget about that part of it, because it's not all process.
You know what? Let me tell you about the EOS specifically, right? Or traction rocket fuel. The separates people into two categories: visionaries and integrators. And I really like that because if anybody studied personality types, right? You got DISC. I mean, that's all over the place. You got the 4 things, and you can be in any order, right? Myers-Briggs, there's 16 different personalities, right? I'm sure there's so many tests out there to where you look at, somebody tells you you're something, right? And there's a whole bunch of them. In EOS, there's 2, right? Visionaries and integrators. That's easy. Those are low numbers. Even somebody with a short attention span like me can figure that out, right? And it's really, for me, powerful. I mean, I'm an integrator, and everybody, I'd suggest you go to the Rocket Fuel website, take the test, figure out which one you are, and it tells you sort of what the strengths and weaknesses of each one are. And it really helps. So as a guy who's focused on leadership development, and that's how I met Corey, focused on that. This is very much building up of the individuals and the leadership team and making sure that you have the right people doing the right things. Now, the difficulty there, as everybody knows, I think Andrew's got some experience in this and dealing with family businesses, right? It's like, well, hey, you've got the wrong person, and actually your person doing ops is an idiot, right? Sorry that's your son, but that's the root of all your problems. So you need to. So that's tough to do.
One other note about that, while you're bringing it up, Ron, is I've got some resources around being an integrator. We have an integrator community, which I can link you with, and I'm going to be facilitating IDS sessions later this morning with that community. And so, yeah, when you find that out, it's a distinct difference in terms of who you're being at the top of the organization and how you build that organization out. So
I love it. And let's connect offline, Marty. I'll set up a time to chat.
Very cool.
So this issue of people, one of the things that I discovered through using a process was that this is not fundamentally about the business. It's fundamentally about the people, the team, and the owner, leader, entrepreneur, whatever we are. And I end up telling the clients, look, I actually don't care about your business. It's nice, it's shiny, all that, but this is really about you and making sure that we take care of you. So one of the things that came out of this is I identified that, Owners, one of the reasons these business fails is because the owners do not take care of themselves. We treat our business like our baby, like our child, like, something that has to be protected. And in fact, what happens is we don't pay ourselves well. We don't put away enough resources. We don't set retirement goals. And the result is the business is like any other organization. It's willing to accept any sacrifice we make, but it will not reward it unless we force it to, unless we design it to. Yeah. And so one of the things we put in there again is goals for the owners. Like you should be paid, preferably $300,000 a year or more. Mm-hmm. Can you start out there? No, but we designed the business to get there within a reasonable period of time, instead of I sacrifice, and then hope it works. When in fact, the failure rate of over 10 years is, depends on whose statistics you believe, but it's upwards of 90-95%. We can't wait. We got to make sure that we take care of you as well. And Ron mentioned this thing about the vacation. One of the things that happens is, guess who really appreciates having that as a goal? It's the spouse. Yeah. It's the family. Because here's the other part. If something happens to you as an owner, what happens to your family? All that sacrifice and everything down the tube. And so we also put in place, protection. Yeah. Now, who thinks of that when they're starting a business? No one.
Yeah. You know what? I like to segue on that. What Corey said about having the right people on the bus is so critical. And business owners, they don't think about that. They want to have the system, the process. They're willing to work 80, 90 hours a week, sacrifice themselves for the business. But if you don't have the right people on the bus in the right seat, you're in deep doo-doo. And assessments today make it very easy to do that. It's not they're economically affordable. Mm-hmm. There's behavioral and motivator assessments that tell us how somebody behaves and what their values are. Clear, cut and dry, simple. There's just some great stuff out there that makes it so easy to put the right people in the right seats.
Not to make this about EOS.
I know Professor Pete might be itching to talk here, right? Because of us looking at taking care of people, right? You can't pour from an empty cup, right? So part of it is the owner taking care of him or herself, right? So Professor Pete, what do you got to say?
Can I say first?
This is right up your alley.
Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
That in EOS, there's a system for getting the right people on the bus, Michael. It's really interesting, right? We call it the people analyzer. So it's, again, a complete and proven system. So it is part of that. I just wanted to throw that in there. The system isn't just one thing. It's a set of tools, over 20 plus tools in the EOS system, and getting the right people. You're absolutely right people in right seats. So the right people on the bus and then the right seats is a big part of it. One of the first things we do in the focus day, in the full session day. So
cool. Yeah, Marty, do those assessments tell us their mental aptitudes and whether they're valid or not, whether they invalidate?
I do have other assessments that do that. No, we don't. Within EOS, though, what we have to do is we have to understand the core values of the business first. And we want people that match those core values. And so and then the right seat is the other thing but you're right. There's other assessments we can use out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Yep.
So trying to get Professor Pete up here. I don't know if he needs to turn his camera on. There, he's in the
here, guys. They're gonna thin it.
Andrew, what do you think? Let's sitting at least.
Pardon?
All right, Pete, how you doing?
I'm on the short.
Thanks for the good subject. And just a quick thing, since Ron, thanks for asking me to come up. Talking about the whole thing of it's a wonderful thing, Corey, to have that backup plan if something happens. But the thing about it, as a business owner yourself, you have to realize that if you put everything, your business, ahead of your health, both mentally and physically, if you burn out, you are no good to your business. You are no good to your spouse. You are no good to your kids. And in fact, if you end up in the, really sick physically, where, basically you only can be in bed, you're not even good to yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the key
another,
thing. Really
it's another, another of the best practices.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really important. So everything that you guys are talking about, it's true. Most business owners, they're not going to think about all these various things. So it's really important to have these contingencies and have people that are able to help guide you and recommend that, hey, you are burning that candle at both ends and you are on a slippery slope to burnout, and that's a critical thing. So
that is a really great topic, because that was one of the most common things I had, and I'd have 120 clients a year, so I got to practice on lots of people. And we'd sit down and we'd talk, and then you'd say, well, tell me about your business. Say, well, I've been at this for 5 years. I haven't had a vacation. I owe taxes, but I don't have any money in the bank, so I don't know why the government thinks I owe them taxes. And my spouse is not happy, and I haven't seen my children, and I don't know what to do. And by changing instead of well, you got to fix what's wrong with your business, and that's one of the other things as a consultant I found is, as entrepreneurs, there's lots of people happy to tell us what's wrong with our business.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And we get really tired of it. And we stop listening. But if you want to tell me, instead of what's wrong with my business and what I need to change just to stay in business, I'm not going to listen. But if you want to talk to me about how to grow my business to the vision and dream that I started it with, then I'm happy to chat about that. I'm happy to listen. Now your technique, your strategy, your tactic might make sense because you're helping me grow to where I want to be. But if it's just to fix what's wrong with me, you know what? I tell clients, I say, you fix pets, not people. So we're going to not try and fix this. We're going to make it so that it can go where you want to go. And this is also a relationship with your spouse and with the people you work with and your family. And when you really start to build that dream again, it changes your relationships, and it means you can go on vacation. And Pete, that's just such a critical thing, because that's what happens. Anybody can keep a business going for about 3 to 5 years. All you have to do is be willing to give up everything you have, everything you will have, and everything you want.
Right.
That doesn't work.
And the only other thing I would just pass on about the vacation thing, I can't tell you how many people that I have worked with and done this myself, where you go on a few days, a week vacation with the family, but guess what? You're sitting there checking your messages, you're doing work on your computer, etc. You are not taking a vacation, because when you don't disconnect, you basically don't give your mind or your body the opportunity to recharge. So,
yeah, it takes 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah,
minimum.
In fact, it's statistically, if you take a week off, your vacation is basically one day, Wednesday, because it takes 3 days to unwind a bit, 3 days that you're charging back up. So, so your 1 week vacation is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that my coach, Dan Sullivan, told me that if you take a 24-hour period, straight 24-hour free day, disconnect from the business 100%, then you lessen that. You can have a good week off, but you have to disconnect. And when I joined that program, I was like a workaholic, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, you can't take 24 hours and disconnect. It's been the best thing that ever happened to my business. I come back if for a weekend, 3 days, 4 days, 9-day retreat. I am so fired up and so engaged in the business. I have more creativity, more innovative ideas. It's unbelievable.
Now,
people have a hard time.
Okay,
jump in for a second. Yeah, and I think it's important too, and we do this because when we're looking at businesses that are valuable too, you take it even a little bit step further. Can you go for a week from your business and it does better without you? You know,
That's something about your management style.
You know, then you can really relax
Well,
while you're on.
So I got to tell you why the vacation, though. Everybody thinks it's because you need it. Yes, that's true. However, the real reason I tell clients within 18 months, you have to take a vacation of between 3 and 8 weeks away from the business. And here's why. Because that gives us 18 months to develop the business in such a way that it can be independent of you for that period of time. Whether you relax and all of that, you probably will, but it becomes kind of a deadline to actually put in place a system so you can do it. Now, here's the other thing, and we all know this, but we forget about it, and that's cash flow, and what I got coming up and everything takes up this huge part of your brain that you don't even think about, but you worry. But if you got a growing business, you are worrying about this all the time, because here's the biggest issue. A growing business consumes more cash than it puts out.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a challenge that we're constantly fighting with our clients, is that when you go 50+% a year, just keeping enough cash in the business to be able to grow that rate is a real challenge. But we're getting to the end here, guys, and I'm starting to drop people off the stage. Thanks so much for this. I tried to get Dr. Elia up here. If you can, it says you're on the stage, Dr. Elia, but I think you might have to turn on your camera and stuff. And I saw you. There we go.
Just a very quick note. I love the conversation, and Corey and Ron, thank you for sharing. Just one quick thing about vacations, because I just had a 6-week off vacation in Greece. I know Ron, I invited you to come to Greece, man. So we're still on with that one.
All right.
And I just want to share something with you that it was unique, that I've never had before. I didn't watch any television, not even one Netflix. My computer time was down by 75%. And by the way, I'm addicted to all of these things, just so we're clear. My phone time was down by 50%. And people have said, well, Ilya, what did you replace it with? You know what I replaced it with? Sun, water, swim, eat healthy food, walk a lot. But more importantly, connect with people that I love, who love me too. We laughed every day. We shared deep conversations. We talked about all kinds of things and really connected with human beings. A much simpler life than the rat race that we have here in the US, but a much healthier life. So I came back to the US and my batteries are full. I can go for a whole year now. That's it.
Good. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Ilya out. If I had a mic, I would drop it right now, but that's it.
Thank you. All right. Well, Corey, Ron, thanks so much. Andrew, take us out. We can go back to the tables, do some networking, but we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah. We're getting near the exit. So here we are. We'll go back to the tables in a little bit, but this was great conversation, guys. And I think that answers Jennifer's question, right? It's the people, the processes. Ira brought up a fantastic point about small business owners are likely to succeed on their second, third, and fourth business. Yep. The small business owners are, they, like Corey said, solve problems. They figure it out trial and error. That's how they learn things. You don't get that. You don't learn how to run a business, getting an MBA. They don't teach that at business school, and all the knowledge. That's why this is cool to everybody and you guys that come here who work with small business owners, and they don't teach it in class. It's in their heads. Exit Your Way. We're just trying to get some of that knowledge out of their heads and show you how to scale business. It's golden. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming along, and we'll shut this down and go back to the tables.
Hey, thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Love leading these conversations. It's great.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.